Hello and welcome. I'm Wayne Blau with this week's Profit Maximizer Moment. Hope everybody's having about to have a really good July 4th weekend. Remember, um, we live in the best country to have economic freedom and to have the ability to start a business. People come from all over the world. I've seen people barely speak English that make good money. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're willing to work hard, you have an idea, and you look for something to do. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Somebody comes in and says they're about ready to start a business. My standard open a business or start a business, and my standard line is congratulations and my condolences. And the reason is because there's no better way to become successful. There is a book quite a while back now. It's called The Millionaire Next Door, and it studied how people became millionaires, and at the time, and it really came down to the good chunk of them were business owners. All right. My condolences because you don't know what you don't know until you open a business. Even if you think you know what you're doing, you're going to have weak spots, and that's why I've hired coaches over the years. I'm getting ready to restart my coaching program again at different levels, so I can help people that just starting off. We're going to talk about today um, new products, new product lines. Now, a little dirty secret here: it doesn't have to be a new product for you. It can be a new product for the person you're marketing it to. It can be combinations of products. It just has to be something new that you're offering. Okay. So I'm going to go through a list of things that I consider. Um, for example, is there a niche that you can market your products to that you're currently not marketing to? Um, maybe you're a real estate agent and you specialize in, houses and all over, but maybe there's a niche. You become an expert in a certain neighborhood so that you get the reputation. If you want to sell a house, they're the ones to sell in that neighborhood. That's just an example. I mean, you could um, selling medical supplies, and maybe a different niche as you go to a different city, or maybe you sell um, to an older group, but you actually are introducing a new product, which is maybe stair lifts, or you're getting into something you weren't normally doing. Um, but how? What do you do? Well, first of all, you have to create products or services for every state of the customer's needs. Okay, whether they're a new customer or a returning customer, an inactive customer, a loyal customer. Um, this is kind of related, but to restart a lost customer. I mean, we're going to talk about all of those in more detail in the future, but a new customer, you speak to them differently and you try to appeal to them differently. Like I know the CPA. Okay, people come to me because they need a tax return done, or they feel like they're paying too much taxes. They've heard that we help people pay less legally, or their business, they're working harder, making less, and they know we help them with that. Okay, a returning customer, they have a different need. Maybe they've grown and now they need more of our services. So you need to look at that. An inactive customer, how do you get them uh, reactivated with you? This is why, if you're in any kind of business, you need to get their cell numbers. You need to get their emails and keep them. Let them know what you're doing. I was talking to my brother who's doing music. They're pretty good actually up in Wisconsin area. If you just look for Sean Belial, and you'll find them on Facebook. They're good. And I was telling them anytime they do shows, they should actually you know, push their Facebook and get their telephone number and email so that when they go to a different bar, they can announce we're going to be there. Because in their business, they get hired and get paid if they bring business. Okay, that's just an example. Now, what you also want to do is identify the top requests for products and services you currently don't offer. What do you get? I did this. I've changed over the years. I mean, seriously, I started trying to coach and train people on QuickBooks too early. I mean, it literally had just come out as a product and it wasn't accepted. And I stopped. All right. And about 8, 9 years later, I realized I was getting a lot of requests for training on QuickBooks. We put QuickBooks training courses together. God, we probably did 70, 80 of them. and it picked up clients, and I got paid. But then I realized, and again, this is what I'm talking about. This is not something you do once and forget about, because you see, I already made one change where I tried it, didn't work, then got told, hey, I'm being asked for this. And then I put it in, but then I realized YouTube was catching on and people were doing it for free. It's real hard to compete with free, so you have to change it. We do QuickBooks training now, but only for people that are our clients, right? So that's something to look at. What I was saying there is, what requests are you getting? Write them down, pay attention. Can you order or create a profitable product to fill this need? Once you see that you're being asked for something, can you meet this need, whether it's a product or a service? If you're selling glass and somebody, is always, let's say commercial and residential glass, and somebody's always asking for this product and you don't carry it, can you? Or do you have something close to it and profitably? You're not just going to sell it because somebody's asking for it. All right. Are there any reoccurring services that you can offer? This is recurring revenue is one of the biggest ways to help your business. Okay, there's almost nothing better. So if there's some service you can come up with, I remember I had a client that did industrial water services. So they put filters and things like that, motors, they built cleaning, they did all kinds of stuff. But they had, I want to say it was 2001 when we had a crash, and almost all their manufacturing business disappeared, where they were building large, parts of the manufacturing process to clean the water. And he started selling services. And when, everything's cyclical. So 2002, 2003, things came back, and he was able to get that big equipment back. Those are big equipment manufacturing and sales back. But by that time, he had created a monthly servicing contract and supplies and things like that, where his monthly bills and what he was collecting more than paid his overhead. So even if he didn't get anything else, he at least stayed open. All right. Do you have things like this? Now, the next one is most important: tiered products, good, better, best. All right. I do that. Okay. If you come in and you're a business, we have 3 levels of service that we offer. For fixed recurring price, that's what we're moving everybody to. New clients, we've been doing it for a couple, 3 years. All our current clients, we're doing that now. And what we're doing with this is, the idea is, can we put 3 different levels of service? Now, when you do good, better, best, you can do that in anything. I worked with BK Medical. If you need home medical supplies in El Paso or in Dallas, they're the ones to go to. Simple as that. They know what they're doing. All right. And they can definitely help you. But I mean, everybody and their uncle, like, let's say a lift chair, you can, get it at Walmart, you can get it online. So they have one that matches that. But when somebody comes into the store, they say, yeah, it's a good store. That's a good chair. You never want to you don't want to talk down about your low level. But here's what it doesn't do well. And here's why this one might be a better fit for you. Now, notice there's a difference. You're actually involved in the sale so that you can make sure the product or service you offer fits the need of the client, rather than them just going online and going, oh, I'll take that one. It looks good. Reviews are good. Then it comes in and it doesn't really satisfy them. All right. So, that's kind of important. Create tiers, because what tends to happen and what we saw is people, instead of buying the lower one, they tend to buy the middle one. Probably 60 to 70% buy the middle one, 20 to 30% are on the lower one, and the 5%, or around there, want the most expensive thing out there because they want to be, that's them. Okay. Next thing, recalculate the lifetime value of a client. Now, our customer, we're not going to spend a lot of time on that here, but that's important, because what we're looking at is, what is this sale worth? Okay, I've sat down and done this. If you go, I'm sure I've discussed this. So if you go look at it on this videos, I've discussed it at one time or another. Definitely spend some time on the course. I want to give you an example. If I have a $500 tax return, and it's just an individual, a few rental properties, things like that. Let's just say $500. What's that worth to me? A new customer. Well, the easy answer is, well, $500 minus my expenses. No, the most expensive customer to get is the first customer. The easiest and least expensive is the second selling something to that new customer second, third, fourth, fifth time. Okay. So what is the lifetime value? Well, if I took that $500 customer and I look at my average customer stays 7 to 10 years, all right, just that by itself, let's just use low end. That $500 tax return is really $3,500. Now, in truth, they're going to do some tax planning. Let's say half of them do, so let's just take half of the fee. Now that 30, and they do it 3 years, so that 3,500 customer just became $8,000. All right, and I'm going to do some QuickBooks training and some other stuff. So now that's $10,000. That's not $500 is worth 10,000. Wait, and they refer 3 of their friends that I do the same to. That $500 tax return is now worth $40,000 in lifetime value. Why is that important? How much time do you spend with a new customer, with a new client, if they're only worth $500 to you, as opposed to if you know they're worth 40,000 to you if you do a good job? That's why you need to know the lifetime value of a customer or a client. I spend a lot of time up front with the new customer, make sure I understand what they're doing, where they're at, and make sure I help them. All right, because I understand the lifetime value of a client, or in my case, a client, but in your case, a customer. So, hey, until next time, this is Wayne Bilal saying, have a great July 4th weekend. God bless, and see you in church, and see you next week. God bless. God bless America, too.